have been just one win away from the Western Conference Finals, like, say, last year. But the way that they got their third win this time around was something else, certainly with Paul George showing up. I wonder what you think of this whole subject matter, BJ.
Well, I'm telling you, this playoffs has been it's been a whirlwind, to say the least, Rich. I mean, there's so many unexpected things that we've seen, and certainly the Clippers heading into, that game last night, I don't think anyone expected them to win. You don't lose a player like Kawhi Leonard, go on the road in a very important game. Traditionally, these game fives, more times than not, the team who wins game five will probably win the series. So I think the pressure was really off of the Clippers. No one anticipated or expected them to win, and they go in there and play a terrific game in a hostile environment down there in Utah, and somehow, some way, they came up with the win with an opportunity to close this thing out. So great job by those guys, but I think more importantly, no one expected them to do it.
What do you think Ty Lue's thinking today, right? What do you think the coach is thinking after seeing something like that? When because you're having, certainly in the NFL, you hear so many coaches saying, the world is against us. The world does not think that this can be possible. And that's just a total exaggeration, like 99.9% of the time. But Ty Lue's spot on to say something like that to his team. There's no doubt about that,
Well, yeah, I mean, give the Clippers credit on this. They go on the road, and they get a phenomenal, performance by Paul George. And then, but let's not take away from Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris. Those guys came up big. They played very well, and they shot the ball well. So more times than not, Rich, when you shoot the ball well, it allows you to be in the game. It gives you an opportunity. Now, I think in Game 6, which is a closeout game for the Clippers, this is going to be the most difficult game. This is where you're going to miss your star player like a Kawhi Leonard, because it's a difference than winning one game, but then it's another thing when you're talking about finishing out a series. So I think they're going to have to find a way to grind this game out defensively. I don't anticipate Utah to shoot as poorly as they did, especially in the second half there of this game, and they're going to play better. Okay, they're going to play better. They're going to play with a sense of desperation, knowing now that the next time they lose, they're going to be out. So it's going to be very difficult. I think they're going to have to find a way. I don't know how that's going to what's going to happen, but I know it's going to start on the defensive end. They have to have a grip of this team so that they don't have the explosion like they did, especially in the first half when Bogdan and these guys started shooting the ball well, because now, that first quarter can lead to a good second quarter, which can lead to a good game. So I think defensively they're going to have to really find a way to put a clamp on this team and really get a hold of them and really grind this game out.
I know this is a question that might be loaded to ask of a teammate, a former teammate of maybe the greatest closeout athlete in the history of team sports. But what is so difficult about closing somebody out, B.J. Armstrong?
Well, the difficult thing is that the opposing team, right, these guys are very good. You don't get to the second round of the playoffs and you're not good. But more times than not, these teams have what we call, in sports, they have basketball integrity. They don't want to go home. Okay, this Utah Jazz team, they were the best. They had the best record in the league for a reason. And it's not because they gave up when things got tough. So this team is going to bunker down. They're going to play, every possession. And more times than not, they're going to play very well, especially on the defensive end. So the advantage for the Utah Jazz is they don't have to shoot well to win this game, because they have the defensive player of the year anchoring their defense. Now, to me, that's the biggest, philosophical question that Coach Lue and staff are going to figure out. How are they going to deal with Rudy Gobert? Because they got to get him away from the basket doing what he does best, which is rim protecting. And if the Clippers shoot well, that's going to draw him out, which is going to allow them to play well offensively. So, there's a lot of moving parts in this game, and I think it's all going to start with how are they going to attack Rudy Gobert, because he is a problem. You have to game plan for him if you're going to beat this Utah Jazz team.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.